When I review the behind-the-scenes footage for the making of Willow, I was immediately reminded of something that, that I ought to think about every day, but as time marches on, you tend to forget how much filmmaking has changed. Willow was a case of a movie with a big vision, a big creative appetite, and yet you look at the movie now, and cinematically, it's a little quaint, but at that time, it was everything that the medium had to offer audiences. It was very exciting to be able to use George's passion for the subject, his relationship with so many great design artists, and of course the visual effects magic of ILM to really offer audiences something that was bold and ambitious at that time. When I look back at the sort of struggle to get it on camera, it's a real reminder that that was quite the adventure, and that things have definitely changed in the world of movie making.
In a time of sequels and spin-offs, where many movies have numbers after their titles, Willow is truly one of a kind. With a complex story full of twists and turns and surprises, it couldn't be told on the stage. And with its visual scope and majesty, it couldn't be told on the small screen of television. Willow had to be a movie. Now, see for yourself how an epic is brought to the screen. Willow, the making of an adventure.
Step right up and get your Willow tickets right now. Come on in. You got a little action, you got a little adventure, you got a little magic, you got a couple of chuckles. Come on, folks, bring the whole family.
Grab your popcorn and take an aisle seat as we go behind the scenes of Willow, a fantasy adventure years in the making.
Well, Willow's sort of been in my mind for about 15 years.
We'll watch producer George Lucas join forces with director Ron Howard to make a movie for little people that even big people want to see.
We would say, what would our children think of this? And then, what do we think?
We'll travel to 3 continents for an exclusive look at the challenges and the thrills.
And then we ended up on the frozen lake at the bottom. I had to do that about 12 times.
We'll take you inside the secret world of Lucasfilm's industrial light and magic, where special effects come to life.
The effects broaden the palette of filmmaking. And this film has a lot of effects in it.
All this coming up as we bring you the story of Willow, a movie with a heart that matches its spectacle.
It's about the least likely hero rising to the occasion and doing something that even he never would have expected he was capable of doing.
Well, I'm interested in fantasy, and in order to make fantasy work, you have to create a kind of immaculate reality that exists for the moment of the movie. And without that, the fantasy won't work.
Action!
With that in mind, George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, recruited Ron Howard, the director of Splash and Cocoon. Together, they would give life to Willow.
When you've got a George Lucas that you can turn to on the set, well, that's an unbelievable luxury, and one that I really tried to take advantage of. And at the same time, George was very respectful of me, and from the outset said, "You're directing this movie, and go do it."
A film that's this big, it's like a Star Wars film. It's really beyond one person's ability to control everything. And so I've sort of been here as a backstop for him to help clean up a lot of the details that, just sort of spill over.
Warwick Davis was cast in the title role of Willow. At 3 feet 4 inches, he played an Ewok in Return of the Jedi. Now just 18 years old, this story is all his.
It's about a farmer, Willow Ufgood, who wants to be a magician. I mean, he's a farmer, but he doesn't like that. He wants to be a sorcerer and get into magic and everything. And then one day, just by chance, this baby arrives on his doorstep.
A special baby, one who can tip the balance between good and evil.
Have you found the child?
The search goes on, my queen.
Find the child. Find the child! Time is running out.
This child must be taken beyond the boundaries of our village, all the way across the great river.
The fates call upon Willow to give the baby to a responsible daikini, or tall person. Unfortunately, he meets Mad Mardigan.
Give me some water, you measly little pecks!
It's Daikini. We're in luck. We can't give it to him. Somebody put him there for a reason.
Well, Mad Mardigan is a warrior on Warrior Skid Row. He's swordless and horseless and armyless and castleless. And he hasn't had a haircut in years.
We gotta give that baby to somebody.
I'm somebody. Let me out of here. I'll take care of the baby.
Little Willow must take the over 6-foot Mad Mardigan up on his offer. They're both giants, however, compared to 2 9-inch wise guys called brownies, who give them a hand and a hard time.
I found a boat. We're all set.
Good. Take these 2 lizards out and drown them.
Lizards? Who are you calling lizards?
Your mother was a lizard.
Frangine is a boisterous, tiny French brownie. He thinks he rules the world. He thinks he's king of the world. Delusions of grandeur, and he always bosses his loyal friend Rule around.
And I am Rule, and I don't believe that the world should be taken so damn seriously.
Obviously spoken by a brownie who has never seen the evil princess, Sorsha.
What are you staring at?
Your leg. I'd like to break it.
You may find that difficult, slave, while I'm up here and you're down there.
I hate that woman.
There's something about Mad Mardigan and Willow and the effect of Elora Dan and the baby that sends her into confusion, and therefore she has this sort of crisis. I mean, she doesn't know whether she's having, what are all these good feelings, what's these feelings of love and everything, and she gets very confused.
I'll kill you.
Death next to love is a trivial thing. Your touch is worth 100,000 deaths.
But Willow isn't just a love story.
What goes on here?
It's also an adventure story, the struggle between good and evil, big and small.
People come in all shapes and sizes in our movie. So one of the things that we were always playing with was that scale and the idea that I guess in the end, it doesn't really matter how big you are or what size you are. It matters sort of what you're made of and what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Yet, as the producers discovered, the 9-inch actors who played the brownies proved time and again on the set just what they were made of.
Now, I want to complain about our accommodations. If I can right now, will you look at this? Will you look at this? Thanks for chipping in for the Barbie Dream House, George. We're really thrilled with that. Look at the huge openings in there. I feel really secure leaving my valuables upstairs.
Coming up next, we'll take you to a gathering of little people bigger than the Wizard of Oz when we go behind the scenes on 3 continents. 1 year ago, the countryside on the outskirts of London was transformed into a Nelwyn village, all built to scale for people under 4 feet tall. It was no easy task finding 225 little people all at the same time.
Getting hold of people was difficult because they're not actors. They don't have answering machines, they don't have agents. They work or they're not at home.
For nearly 7 days, the Nelwyn actors lived together, worked together, and played together. It was one magic week. Capturing that magic challenged the filmmakers.
But I don't want to start it from the beginning again.
You don't want to do the whole thing?
Not really, because, but you still got plenty of dancing, and we can start the music anywhere because it's the same.
Okay.
I wonder if there's like a halfway point that they can start.
With the clock running, director Ron Howard was forced to make hundreds of decisions, big and small, each day.
Are they going to do something different anyway, so?
Yeah, all right, well, let's just do the whole thing then.
Yeah,
okay.
321, take 1. A and B cameras. You got me, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, now here. Move.
slowly through and back again. The frame will come up this way. Okay, very good.
I know a few secrets of the trade now. So it was really good fun, though, because I was interested in magic when I was younger, and I'd sort of lost interest recently, but now I've brought my interest back again in it. It was really good fun to learn it.
I will now join them before your very eyes.
It really hit me in the Nelwyn village, where I was in the minority completely, and everything was scaled perfectly to these people that we look upon as being unusual and different. And to see them interacting, performing, working hard, laughing, playing, carrying on, that was, to me, I think maybe the greatest experience in the movie.
The cast and crew also traveled to Snowdonia in a remote section of North Wales. To film the storming of the evil Knockmar Castle required finding 150 horses and another 200 pigs, booking 25 local hotels and hiring 200 local extras, all to accomplish one ugly transformation.
When he goes down on the ground, what happens is you guys begin to see that he's turning into a pig.
What a driveway.
And turn and start to go. And she starts saying, "You're all pigs," and starts turning you all into pigs.
You do it by sculpting effectively a different face that is molded in a very, very soft, pliable material. Foam rubber, or sometimes plastics are used. And that's literally glued to the skin. On location, we had a great many sort of pull-on masks and suits for all the wide shots, because there's no way you can actually turn 200 people into pigs mechanically at the same time, and it would take years.
While the nighttime shooting in Wales could best be described as surreal, 3 days and 2 nights spent here in the rain and mist were also physically challenging.
This is wet, this is cold, this is night.
This is Wales.
This is the movies.
Although all exteriors of Knockmar Castle were done in Wales, the interior castle was a set built at Elstree Studios in London. Set construction began 7 months before actual filming.
And action! Cut! I used video assist for the first time with the kids like in this movie. I'd never ever done it.
Blocked off there, maybe he'd be less inclined to disappear around that corner.
Well, I didn't even see him. Did he even go out? He was
Yes,
just
he
obliterated
did.
by the three horses.
Show on. He went out after 2 empty horses, but he dashed around the nearest point of exit, which is around there, I think.
Well, I think maybe he'll do it this time without those other horses.
And action!
The complexity of the Willow battle scenes made the video playback an important safety net. At any given time, several different production units were at work. A pickup unit, a second unit, often an effects unit.
I used to joke with George and say, some days I don't feel like I'm the director of this movie. I feel like I'm vice president in charge of cinematic affairs for Lucasfilm.
And in some cases, head of the personnel department when it came to staging scenes between his leading lady and his leading man.
I had a love scene with Joanne Whalley, and it was just very difficult.
And it was quite tough physically to do.
I couldn't remember my lines somehow. Just when I would kiss her and then I would forget what I was going to say, so we had to shoot that over and over again. I never did get it right.
You still have a job to create a character, a believable person.
I don't know. I think it was a personality thing, but we got along all right in the end.
Apparently so. Val Kilmer and co-star Joanne Whalley, who met on the set of Willow, were married last March. The toughest part of the shooting schedule took the cast and crew to Queenstown, New Zealand, a 30-hour flight from London. Filming continued in this mountainous area famous for skiing for 4 long weeks.
We looked in all over Europe, and unfortunately this time of year there's no snow, so we were advised to come here, and this alpine look is just exactly what we wanted. However, having got here and found it, it's now, although a wonderful location, it's very, very hard to get to logistically.
Helicopters were frequently used to ferry cast and crew to the mountaintop sets, together with essential equipment. One night, 4 feet of fresh snow fell and radically changed the schedule. Yet even on normal days, the roads were closed to all but 4-wheel drive vehicles. It was here, near the summit of Mount Caldrona, that a snow camp of skin-covered tents was constructed.
The basic problem there was to find a way of holding down the tents
in winds gusting up to 100 miles an hour during the prep period, so that we had a set to shoot on when the crew turned up.
Certainly, the most spectacular scene filmed here involved an impromptu sled ride taken by Willow and Mad Mardigan.
They did various rigs for this. They had a camera strapped to the front of the sled and a skier towing it down a hill. Started the camera, the guy ran off, and the skier started skiing down the hill. It was a nice shallow gradient, so I was sitting there just acting away. This is easy. And suddenly it dropped away. There's this really steep slope, and then the acting went, and I was just real fear then down this drop. And then we ended up on the frozen lake at the bottom. And I had to do that about 12 times. I was a nervous wreck at the end of it. It was so scary.
From stunts to state-of-the-art special effects, when we return, we'll go inside the rarely seen home base of George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic for an exclusive look at how the magic goes into a movie like Willow. Because the story of Willow uses magic, the making of the film relied heavily on special effects. Hundreds of effects were added long after the film was completed. Other effects are achieved on location. Sometimes filmmakers feel it's easier to control their own bad weather using devices from wind machines to wave makers than to work in the real thing. Other location effects range from adding smoke to enhance a feeling of mystery, to using flamethrowers to create a fire-breathing dragon. Other effects have to be seen to be believed.
Just come over here for a second. Let me just see if this is going to work. Action.
Death dogs, fearsome, evil, terrifying. And in all close-up scenes, remote-controlled and capable of everything from snarling to bleeding.
Draw back. Okay. Do a snap and then a draw back and then a lunge.
We've also got 2 Rottweiler dogs trained to wear death dog suits, and that has been very successful, more successful than I ever thought it would be.
Marin County, north of San Francisco, Willow finally came together as the film now seen in theaters. It is the home of Industrial Light and Magic, owned and operated by George Lucas. An unbroken string of Academy Awards for special effects testifies to its excellence.
Special effects never make a movie. I don't make special effects movies. I make movies about people, and in order to tell a story, I have to use special effects in order to create the environments.
The effects broaden the palette of filmmaking. And this film has a lot of effects in it. We're going to be way over 400 effect shots by the time we're done on it.
Dennis Murin supervised the fairy forest sequence in Willow. Central to the sequence is the fairy queen, Sherlindria.
She's sort of a haunting figure. She's sort of a gaseous creature that you could say occasionally appears when necessary in the forest. Because she's shot separately against the black, we're photographing her greatly overexposed. So she's practically like you're looking into the sun. And then we're shooting her in slow motion, so she moves very fluid and magically. And then her costume is very lightweight silks that are being blown by fans hidden all around her. The lights are being dimmed up and down in order to make her a little more difficult to see.
When the crew moved the camera on a crane, Sherlindria, isolated against the black background, appeared to move. ILM could now superimpose her over any background they wished.
How do you know my name?
Elora Denon told me. Elora Denon has chosen you to be her guardian.
Me?
Yes. She likes you.
ILM filmed other actresses in the same manner as Sherlindria, turning them into exquisite little fairies.
We don't want you to think of them as neat special effects. We want, hopefully, the audience to feel transported into a time when incredible things happened and were taken absolutely for granted by everyone around them.
Fire-breathing dragons, for example. This two-headed monster is actually a small mechanical puppet operated by a computer.
The monster in this particular sequence has maybe 40 shots that it's going to show up in. The final shots will be a result of hundreds and hundreds of man-hours that will probably result in maybe 3 or 4 minutes of screen time in the final film.
Other special effects involve making full-size actors appear tiny. One way to do this is to build huge, oversized sets. In most cases, however, another special effects process known as blue screen is needed. Our interview with the Brownies shows us how this is done. First, the actors were interviewed, literally in front of a blue screen. Then a suitable background was photographed, one that would relate the actors to their environment in an unnatural way. Next, the actors themselves are superimposed over the other scene. The result is the look of tiny people. Unfortunately, no special effects process can improve a bad attitude and a big ego.
Step inside, and then
Yo,
you'll
you want to
see.
step inside? No, I can't. I'm too big. I'm too big to get into the little brownie house.
All right.
I'm sorry, it's not you, it's everything. I didn't mean to bite your head off.
Willow proves that one committed person can make a difference. And the making of Willow proves that if enough people share a creative passion, they can make a very special movie.
Thanks.
Keep walking, hero! Don't even turn around!
It's our show.
I think if you read the script, better yet when you see the film, it's not an argument. The fact that it's called Willow represents the reluctant hero that we guide, save, take care of, babysit. You have to call it Willow because he's the reluctant hero, but quite frankly, you know, it is
should be
Rule and
Frangine.
Frangine's show.
Yeah, no, Frangine and Rule, actually. Technically.
What did I say? What did I say?
You said Rule is right. No, it's very close. Very good. That's all right.
Did I
It's
say
okay.
Rule?
No, it's cool.
I can't
Just
believe-
technically, it should be
he's right.
Frangine and Rule.
It's an
Should.
alphabetical thing.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, at this point, it is true. But we're going to cut most of their stuff out. Because Ron and I have the ultimate say. But at this point, we're just letting them think that, you know, it's all their movie and it's about them.
It's far from being the Brownies movie, and I'm just afraid they're gonna, you know, sneak into a theater on the opening day and crawl under a seat and peek out there and look and be completely shattered, because in their minds, you know, it's all them. But hey, you know, they got to grow up sometime.
No, it's not the Brownies movie. It'd be called The Brownies if it was, wouldn't it? It's called Willow, so it's my movie.